Most businesses don't fail overnight. Instead, they decline slowly and often for reasons they don't even realize.
But over the next few years, that's going to accelerate. Today, we're breaking down the top 7 reasons your business could fail, and more importantly, how to avoid them.
Welcome back to the AI and Marketing Podcast for local businesses, the show that gives you practical, proven marketing advice to help you grow your business right here in the UK. My name's Adam, best-selling Amazon published author, an AI enthusiast and presenter, and founder of www.websitedesigners.london. We've helped businesses generate tens of millions of pounds online through smarter design and marketing.
And my name's Josh. I'm the founder of ImproveMySearchRanking.com, a specialist SEO agency based in South London and 3-time winner of the UK Search Awards. Over the past 10 years or so, we've worked with more than 1,000 businesses, helping them generate well over £200 million in sales.
Fantastic. Let's get straight into it. Reason number 1 your business could fail in the next 5 years is if you ignore AI or use it poorly. Ultimately, businesses are actually using AI on a daily basis, several times a day. I, in fact, know businesses that track their usage of their employees and have some use a carrot. So it's, top 5 employees that use it will get X benefit. Bottom users, I know some businesses use stick. If you don't use AI, you will lose your access to said AI, and therefore, because you don't use it, I mean, arguable which is better and which works better. Ultimately, healthy competition, I find, always works well, but businesses are spending money on premium licenses, especially if they're not just sharing one, which obviously that's against the law. So I would never say that you should do that. But ultimately, your business should use AI, and I would say daily. Are you using it strategically, or is it just more I'm just going to use it because I'm trapped and therefore I just want to register some usage? Businesses who adopt AI move faster. There is no doubt about it. There is a recent study that Stanford produces on an annual basis around AI, and it's clear that an increasingly vast number of businesses are using AI, and organizations that use AI are more productive and unfortunately, depending on how you view the world, there will be an increasing wealth gap between those who use AI and those who don't. And obviously, depending on the sector you're in, you're more likely to you may feel AI is more applicable and useful for you. But ultimately, if you ignore AI, you could get left behind and your business could fail.
I think those businesses that use AI are going to have a much greater productivity level.
Yeah.
And there's various use cases that we discussed on this podcast in previous episodes. We spoke about using AI as your analyst in your business. We've discussed using AI to create personalized software for your business to help speed up your processes and systems and delivery. So this is probably the biggest point, is just make sure you're not ignoring AI and integrating it instead within your business. The second reason your business could fail in the next 5 years is relying on one lead source. So imagine at the moment you're generating all your leads from Google, you're top of Google for all your relevant keywords, and it's bringing you 5, 10, 15, 20 leads per day. What happens in the future where Google no longer exists and you've lost your one source of lead generation? So you really need to be thinking about how you can diversify your lead sources. Have you thought about investing in Meta ads, in Google ads, in Facebook ads, TikTok, LinkedIn, all the various different marketing channels and platforms? Even nowadays, I have a feeling that direct mail and print might become slightly more effective. It's kind of dropped off for years, but because if you can be inventive and be creative with what you're doing, we always had this idea of sending a physical calculator to people and calling it the SEO profit calculator. And in the box to have like a link to a URL. So let's go to this website, type in your keyword, see how much money you're missing out on. And I feel that quite an inventive way that could get people to take action.
Absolutely. Look, to the point of leafleting coming back as a effective marketing a way of marketing. Absolutely, there are multiple people and organizations and reports that show that analog mar- use of what they call analog marketing as opposed to digital marketing are making a comeback.
Mhm.
And even in just general life, not just business, but people's desire to move towards an analog way of living is becoming a little more prominent and making another um, uh, a kind of growth spurt compared to the use of digital because people are finding themselves over consuming digital
Mhm.
methods.
Mm.
So again, just to highlight on that.
One more quick example I thought was really funny was somebody spent a shoe box with one shoe in them to various CEOs. They kind of found out through their secretarial level what their shoe size was, and in the box it says, "Now I've got one foot in the door. Can you arrange a meeting or wherever it may be, and I'll send you the other shoe." I thought that was just quite a funny and inventive way of doing things.
There we go. So that relying on one lead source was the upshot there, right? Now, reason number three, your business could fail in the next 5 years, is essentially having a weak online presence. Yeah, of course, we've just talked about analog versus digital, but digital is overwhelmingly the leading source and becoming even more increasingly important, especially in the AI era. Having a weak online presence will could decimate your business, and your competition will be looking at ways in which they can appear more prominently on online, and so therefore, if your competition is doing that, then you're going to, you know, and you're going to take second place or third, fourth, fifth, or even um, just not appear at all and not be a choice. And whether that's weak online presence on social media, as Josh highlighted earlier, whether that's a weak online presence uh, in terms of your website, and whether that's then causing a weak online presence on AI, so what they call generative engine optimization, GEO, i.e., appearing in AI, or even whether that's just the traditional SEO, so search engine optimization. Is your website, is your business appearing online on page one of Google, and is it being recommended by AI sources? So, but when people get onto your website, do you then convert that user into a customer? So, do you need to look at on-page conversion and your conversion rates? Does it clearly build trust? I.e., what you're showing online, your social media, on your website, are you building that trust with your audience? Do they trust you enough to take out your product or service? Is it clear enough? And the key things that we're talking about these will also help with appearing higher on search engines and in generative engines as well. So clearly explain what you do, your service, the service you provide, the product you provide as well. First impressions now happen online ultimately.
I think as well in the next 5 years that AI agents are going to become more and more prevalent, and there may well be an AI agent that's going to your website and booking your service rather than a human. So it's very important to stay in the loop and understand how you can ensure your website is easily readable and easily usable for an AI agent rather than just a human. I'm sure in the next few years that's going to become something that's very important.
It's already happening, 100%. It's already happening, but it will become even more prevalent. Absolutely.
Yeah. Next up, number four, and Adam, you kind of alluded to this
Mhm.
to some degree, is the trust signals or lack of trust
Mm.
signals as a business. So, do you have reviews? Are you collecting Google reviews? Are you collecting Trustpilot reviews? If you're a builder, are you on Checkertrade and getting reviews there? If you're a hospitality business, are you on TripAdvisor getting reviews there? Reviews are extremely important. I'm not sure what the statistic is, but a vast majority of people check reviews before they purchase any service nowadays, and it's just a requirement. You need to get reviews. Secondly, case studies. Do you have before and after pictures of your work? Do you have clear case studies showcasing the results that you've got for your customers, explaining exactly what the problem is, what the solution is, and what the final product ended up being? Have you got real photography rather than AI generated or stock photos? Have you got accreditations, insurance, qualifications, awards, this kind of information? Is that present on your website? Is it present in your marketing? So in a world of AI content, trust is becoming more and more and more important. Feeding again into Google EAT principles, expertise, experience, authority, trustworthiness. Are you showcasing these? And that's just super, super important.
Absolutely. Reason number 5 your business could fail in the next 5 years is if you compete on price instead of value. Now, of course, we're not saying businesses should not compete on price if that's your unique selling point, but ultimately, there are many, many um, if we think about Alex Hormozy, for example, he always is a big advocate for not competing on price, but for value. Um, Essentially, offer more value, increase your prices. If you are a personal trainer, and you're trying to be more competitive, you can be more competitive by offering maybe a free meal plan instead of reducing your price of your personal
Mm,
training sessions. So have a think about, should your business race to the bottom in terms of price, or should you just offer more value? And if you do want to decrease and become quote unquote more competitive on price, what happens to your margins? Are you then going to ultimately you're going to have to sell more volume in order to, if you reduce your price, you're going to sell more volume in order to create the same amount of turnover, i.e., revenues for your business, because you're going to have thinner margins, i.e., your profit's going to be less. So, cheap positioning. And a final point, arguably, a lot of people have, you know, in our lifetime, we definitely have experiences in our own businesses as well. And in fact, we talk about this quite frequently, Josh and I. Um, when we have lower paying customers, they tend to be more needy and um, want more and complain more and be more difficult to deal with. Whereas our most expensive or our most expensive offering or our most high paying customers tend to um, uh, they're the ones that will, when we send the invoice on a monthly basis for 10 times the amount that we would send for our kind of cheapest customer, they're the ones that won't query paying. Instead, as soon as you send it, within 5 minutes, you receive the £2,000 in your bank account, and they just drop you an email saying paid, thank
mm,
you.
mhm,
And they value your time, they value your service as well. So ultimately, we're not saying don't sell cheap affordably or anything like that. This is just about understanding the entry point and the positioning you want to have in the market. Are you going to differentiate yourself on price, value, or quality?
mm. The margin and that brings to mind, I think there's a recent story in the news maybe last week. Was it Gucci or Chanel? One of their bags, the cost to produce the bag is, I think it was $50, and they were selling it. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was $5,000 and produced $50, which is crazy, crazy margin.
It's wild.
But I suppose they're selling the value, they're selling their brand. You're getting that value of the brand. That's what people
Mm.
like, brand perception, I suppose. Cool. Number 6 is lack of systems and processes. So this is a big one, and businesses that have process systems are much more efficient, much more effective in the era of AI. AI can help you speed up and optimize your systems and processes. Businesses that don't have them and doing things manually and doing things one-off, they are slow and less efficient. So if you as a business do not have processes and systems noted down, standard operating procedures or SOPs, you should consider developing them. This is also, if you're some good advice that I've been told through business coaches in the past is, if you want to sell your business, you need to have SOPs, you need to have standard operating procedures, you need to have a systemized manual of how to run your business and how it can work without you being there. If everything relies on you as the business owner and the key person, then your business is unsellable and it's just not valuable. So
Mm.
it's a very good idea to free yourself up from the business to pass on tasks to other people. And to do that, you need repeatable systems.
Fine. There's this running joke. Well, I say running joke. Maybe I'm about to create the joke now, but Josh's favorite acronym at the moment, SOPs.
Yeah, it is.
SOPs.
So
Okay, reason number 7. The final reason why your business could fail in the next 5 years is a very big one, the most significant one. I'd say the biggest one, because it kind of ties in everything together neatly. If your business does not adapt to change, that is the surefire way to just be one of those legacy businesses that people associate with the Stone Ages, right? If your market is evolving, if your customers' appetites are evolving, if trends are evolving and you don't adapt, ultimately you could end up with no customers. So you need to constantly put out feeders out there. You constantly need to do a bit of market research, speak to industry peers, you know, plug yourself into organizations, or maybe industry bodies of your own market. Have a little read around the market as well. Do a bit of social media research. Do a bit of primary research. Ask your customers what they want. But ultimately, not adapting and not changing because of your own personal views, because you think you know best. Um, eh, that is a risk that your business will stand still, and over time you'll go into what they call flux, and demise, essentially, and you could just not become, end up not having a what accountants call a going concern of a business. So standing still is the biggest risk. You just need to adapt as things go along. There is no doubt that if we think about Blockbuster, for example, Blockbuster didn't adapt. They didn't go online. They refused to go online. Infamously, weren't they offered Netflix or something like that?
$1 million.
$1 million,
Mhm.
$1 million with an M for Netflix. Now, I wonder how much. In fact, isn't Netflix buying another organization? Or ultimately, Netflix are worth much more than that. But they had the opportunity. Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy Netflix. And those who don't know what Blockbuster is, it used to be a physical store where you could walk in and buy physical CDs in order to watch your movies, because back in the day, CDs and
DVDs,
DVDs and
VHS.
VHS, which is a tape, essentially an old school tape, that was a physical tape, and physical CD were the ways to watch movies, and they refused to go online. Or you could think about other businesses as well that didn't adapt. So it's a big problem that you just need to constantly adapt to change in order to really stay ahead of the market,
Exactly. So standing still is a big risk.
for sure.
So zooming out and looking at the bigger picture, these 7 points we discussed here, so not adapting to change, lack of processing systems, competing on price instead of value, no trust signals, weak online presence, relying on one lead source, and ignoring AI. How many of these are actually new? Or most of them not. I mean, apart from AI, all of these are business principles that have existed for maybe 50, 100 years or so. But what is changing, I believe, right now is the pace of things. Things are accelerating quicker with AI. I think competition is going to increase. It's easier than ever for someone else, for business in your niche, in your sector, in your part of the world, and compete against you and to use AI. So if you as a business are not utilizing the new tools, not improving your processes, not getting better, then I think you could be left behind. And of course, you want to survive the long term, so you need to consider changing.
Absolutely. Let us know in the comments which of these applies to your business right now. One thing that you'd fix this week, or any other reason that you think a business could fail in the next 5 years. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. And please follow, subscribe, because it really does help us deliver you guys and other people great episodes like this and content as well. And it keeps us going. So please hit that follow button. We really appreciate it. Give us a 5-star rating. Again, that goes a long way with us as well. Thank you very much for listening. Speak to you soon.